Okay, we will continue our discussion with dihalides. We have a brief discussion about dihalides as well as monohalides, not like hexahalides and tetrahalides. Dihalides, under that, if you take it for sulfur, that is SCl2, we can consider it. SCl2 is having similar structure as that of water. So water structure, if you observe it, which is having two lone pairs, and bond angle can be given as 104.5 degree. It is having angular geometry. In the similar way, sulfur, which is connected to two chlorines, which is having two lone pairs, but the bond angle can be given as 103 degree. So it is also having angular or bent geometry. Angular or bent geometry. But if you observe that bond angle in SCl2 is less than water. So what is the reason for this? The reason is electronegativity of sulfur. Electronegativity of sulfur is less than electronegativity of oxygen. Oxygen is more electronegative element, as you know, right? Electronegativity of sulfur is less than electronegativity of oxygen. By that, what will happen? Bond pairs in SCl2 goes away from sulfur. So when bond pairs goes away, in this case, when bond pairs, whenever they are going away, lone pairs are coming closer. So lone pair comes closer and bond angle decreases. So this is the reason in SCl2, sulfur dichloride, bond angle can be given as 103 degree, whereas a similar compound, that is OH2 or H2O, in that bond angle is 104.5 degree. It is because of the electronegativity difference. Now, next type of halides we have mono.
So for hydrates also similar reason also, because electronegativity is decreasing.
These monohalides generally can exist in the form of dimers. These can exist in the form of dimers. So dimers in the sense like S2F2, S2Cl2, S2Br2, right? So monohalides, if you observe it, all these are existing in the form of dimers, in form of like S2F2, S2Cl2, S2Br2, and having the similar structure to that of H2O2. Having similar structure of H2O2. Yes, right. Having similar structure of H2O2. Like open book shape. How two oxygens are linked together, here two sulfurs are linked. They are connected with H, but here connected with Cl, and here it is connected with Cl. Its bond angle is around 104 degree, and SS bond length, if you consider, it is having 202 picometer, whereas SCl bond length can be given as around 199 picometer can be given. So it is a simple monohalide, which is S2Cl2 can be given, having similar structure of H2O2. Please copy it. So far we have discussed about chemical properties of group 16 elements. Now let's talk about anomalous behavior of oxygen. Anomalous behavior of oxygen. Same like group 15, there itself nitrogen can exhibit anomalous behavior. Here oxygen can exhibit anomalous behavior. It is due to Why it can exhibit anomalous behavior? It is because of small size, and as well as it is because of high electronegativity, and as well as it is because of lack of vacant d orbitals. Lack of vacant d orbitals. These are the major reasons. Because of small size and high electronegativity, this oxygen can exhibit anomalous behavior. And what are the anomalous properties of these oxygen? Let's make a look on it. Let's talk about anomalous properties. First property, you can say that oxygen is a gas. Oxygen is a gas, while other elements are solids. While others are solids at room temperature. Others are solids at room temperature. And as well as oxygen is diatomic. Oxygen is diatomic, that is O2, while others are polyatomic, but majorly octatomic. Of course, more than 2 atoms are there. Obviously, you can say it as polyatomic, like you can say S8, SC8, TE8. This point already we have mentioned in the previous sessions also. It is also another anomalous property can be given. Now, oxygen cannot exhibit positive oxidation states. But there is an exceptional case, of course, except with fluorine. Being the most electronegative element, with fluorine, it can exhibit positive oxidation states, but generally not like other elements. Other elements can exhibit more number of positive oxidation states, but oxygen cannot exhibit more number of positive oxidation states, while others can exhibit +2, +4, +6, right? So more number of positive oxidation states they are exhibiting. They are exhibiting more number of positive oxidation states. That is also another anomalous property can be given. Next, oxygen can form p-pi bond. Actually, it can form p-pi bond because of the smaller size. Oxygen can form p-pi bond, but others cannot form. Others cannot form due to its large size. This point also we have mentioned in atomic and physical properties, if you remember. Because of the larger size, these elements cannot form p-pi bonds, but instead of it, they have complex structures. Like S8, if you take it, they will have puckered ring structures. SS, okay, single bond will be there in it. Okay, and oxygen can form hydrogen bonds. Oxygen can form hydrogen bonds, but others cannot. Oxygen can form hydrogen bonds, but others cannot. Because of small size and high electronegativity, oxygen can form hydrogen bonds, but other elements they cannot form hydrogen bonds due to less electronegativity, right? So it is also one of the what we can say, one of the anomalous property can be given. And moreover, oxygen is, it is O2 is paramagnetic. O2 is paramagnetic due to the presence of, it is presence of two unpaired electrons. Due to the presence of two unpaired electrons in anti-bonding molecular orbital, that is ABMO. According to molecular orbital theory, O2 is paramagnetic in nature. Most of the people, they will misconcept as O2 is having 16 electrons, so it's an even number, so it may be diamagnetic. But it is not diamagnetic substance, it is paramagnetic due to the presence of two unpaired electrons in ABMO, that is in pi star orbitals. Pi star 2p orbitals, we can see these unpaired electrons. But while others are diamagnetic. While others are diamagnetic can be given. It is also another anomalous property can be given for oxygen. Please copy it. Now, let's talk about oxygen. Anomalous behavior of oxygen is done. Now let's talk about the preparation, properties and uses of oxygen. So various preparation methods of oxygen. Under that, first one is from oxides. First one is from oxides. If you take lower oxides in the sense the metals which are placed in the lower part of the electrochemical series, if we heat them, HGO, upon heating, that means thermal decomposition we are doing it, okay, around 450 degrees Celsius, which gives Hg plus O2. Similarly, if you take Ag2O, silver oxide, if it is heated around 350 degrees Celsius, it gets converted into Ag plus O2. So it will be 4Ag plus O2. Like this, we can prepare oxygen. And even higher oxides are there. Higher oxides in the sense which are placed above the hydrogen in the electrochemical series. Like you can take lead oxide. It is an example of a mixed oxide. I'll clarify that point why it is called as mixed oxide. Pb3O4, if it is heated, it will be converted into PbO plus O2. It will be converted into PbO plus O2. It is also one of the example of thermal decomposition. It is also an example of thermal decomposition. Balance it 6 dB. Similarly, you can take lead dioxide also. Lead dioxide PbO2, if it is heated, it can be converted into PbO plus O2. So if you balance it, you get 2 here and here you get 2. This is also preparation method can be given for preparing the oxygen, right? And similarly, you can take still. Sorry for the interruption. Now, oxygen we are discussing. That is preparation methods we are actually discussing. Preparation methods we are actually discussing. That is from oxides. From oxides like HGO, which is upon heating around 450 degree Celsius. Around 450 degree Celsius will give you Hg plus O2. Similarly, Ag2O upon heating at 350 degrees Celsius will give you Ag plus O2. It is 4Ag and it is fine. Similarly, you can take another mixed oxide of lead, that is Pb3O4. If it is heated, you will get PbO plus O2 and it is 6. And as well as lead dioxide also can be taken. If it is heated, you will get PbO plus O2. So these are the reactions what we have given so far. And not only that, you can take even MnO2 also, manganese dioxide, which is placed, manganese is placed above the hydrogen. These are nothing but higher oxides. MnO2, if it is heated, it will give you Mn3O4 and oxygen. Mn3O4 and oxygen. So 3MnO2. So this is also one of the preparation method can be given. And second one, which is familiar to you, that is from alkali metal nitrates, which you have learnt in S block elements of class 11, from alkali metal nitrates. Alkali metal nitrates like sodium nitrate and potassium nitrate, if it is upon heating, it gives you NaNO2 plus O2. On balancing, you get 2. Similarly, this one, it will give you KNO2 plus O2. Nitrates upon heating, it will be converted into nitrite. Hope you remember the reaction of lithium nitrate. If I take LiNO3, same reaction will not occur. Instead of nitrite, it will give lithium oxide plus NO2 plus O2. Right? That is anomalous behavior of the lithium. From alkali metal nitrates, you will get nitrite as well as oxygen. It is another preparation method also can be given. And laboratory preparation method, if you observe it, laboratory preparation method, if you observe it, it is well-known preparation method since 8th standard. Okay, we are studying this. Hope you remember this. 2 moles of KClO3 upon decomposition in the presence of a catalyst called as MnO2, it will give you 2 KCl plus 3 O2. KClO3 is called as potassium chlorate. It is an example of catalytic decomposition. That catalyst will helpful for the reaction to take place at lower temperature, around 250 degrees Celsius. But if catalyst is absent, the reaction can take place around at 450 degrees Celsius. It is a laboratory preparation method, that is decomposition of the KClO3 can be given. Next preparation, that is action of MnO2, with concentrated H2SO. Another important preparation method, children, when MnO2 react with concentrated H2SO4, which gives you MnSO4 plus H2O plus O2. This is the preparation method can be given. And if you balance it, we need to balance it, this one 2 and it is 2. And the other side, it is 2 sulfates. Now it is balanced. So MnO2, whenever it reacts with H2SO4, it will give you MnSO4 plus H2O plus O. It is also another important preparation method for competitive. And next, heating of K2Cr2O7 and KMnO4. K2Cr2O7 and KMnO4. This is useful for inorganic conversions. For inorganic conversions also this reaction is useful. If you take potassium dichromate, K2Cr2O7, if it is heated around 673 Kelvin around, if it is heated, it will give you K2CrO4. Potassium chromate will be formed. Along with it, it will give you Cr2O3. A green colored residue can be formed and oxygen gas can be liberated. Similarly, KMnO4, potassium permanganate. Potassium permanganate also, if it is heated around 520 Kelvin, if it is heated, it will be converted into K2MnO4 plus MnO2 plus O2. This is potassium permanganate, KMnO4. This is potassium manganate. That is a point of difference, right? So of course, you need to balance these reactions. Just are given the reactions only. Especially for the conversions, inorganic conversions, heating of K2Cr2O7 and heating of KMnO4 will be asked. So these are the major preparation methods can be given. Please copy it. Is it preparation method number 6? Fine. Okay. So anyway, you asked, that's why I was about to skip it off anyway, but I'll discuss it here. Very pure form of oxygen can be prepared. Very pure form of oxygen can be prepared by following method. By following, as I have told you that KMnO4, if I use it, but just help me out to balance this reaction as it is a complex redox reaction. It will take time. Please do it later. KMnO4 plus H2SO4 plus H2O2. Acidified solution of KMnO4 you are taking it. Acidified solution of KMnO4, if it is reacting with H2O2, in that case, that KMnO4 plus H2SO4 products, you write it first. K2SO4 plus MnSO4, right? And moreover, H2O2 also will be decomposed. Hydrogen peroxide, if it is decomposed,
H2O plus O2.
yes, exactly. H2O plus O2. These are the products obtained by acidified KMnO4. These are the products obtained by the decomposition of the H2O2. By combining these, we got all these products. So by this way also, you can prepare. By this way also, oxygen can be prepared. Is that clear? In this way, very pure form of oxygen can be obtained because remaining all the impurities can be separated out. And all these are examples of the simple preparation methods can be taken. And next,
Sir, in this case, then why are we using KMnO4 and H2SO4? Sir, because
let's talk about commercial preparation method. Let's talk about commercial preparation method. Commercial preparation method, if you observe it, children, as already we had discussed in nitrogen also, what is that? Fractional distillation of liquid air. Fractional distillation of liquid air. Air must be condensed first. Once air is condensed, right, that must be subjected to fractional distillation, which is consisting of, air is consisting of 21% of oxygen and around 78% of nitrogen, whereas oxygen boiling point is around 90 Kelvin, nitrogen boiling point is around 77 Kelvin, which we had discussed in the last chapter also. N2 is having a low boiling point, whereas O2 is having a high boiling point. So difference in the boiling points is the principle involved in the fractional distillation. Difference in boiling points is the principle. And moreover, you might get doubt, sir, nitrogen, can't it be combining with O2 and it forms NO? Why? Because we have condensed mixture is there in the sense, but there is a
high temperature is required.
Yeah, there is a high temperature is required, but why it requires high temperature? Because there is a reactivity difference. There is a reactivity difference.
N2 is very inert.
Yeah, very good. That means oxygen is more, will you allow me to write like that also, more reactive than N2? You can write N2 is less reactive than O2. That is also fine, not an issue. Oxygen is more reactive than N2. This reactivity difference also will allow the nitrogen and oxygen to separate, right? So these are the two facts which are useful for separating the oxygen by fractional distillation of liquid air. One is boiling point difference and another one is reactivity difference, right? You can expect, okay, more than one answer type questions like that, right? They will give you certain properties, which properties will be helpful to separate the oxygen in the fractional distillation of liquid air. And second one, which is well known and familiar to you, I will not keep the heading or else you will guess it. That's why you can tell me this. What is this process called as?
Electrolytic decomposition.
Electrolytic decomposition of water.
Yes, which also gives oxygen. It is a commercial preparation method of the oxygen, right? Please copy it. Please, okay, still, but we'll try to discuss chemical properties.
You can just go to previous lecture. Just for 1 second. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Fine, sir.
Of course, oxygen reacts with most of the metals and non-metals, which is well known to you. Reaction with metals. Sodium react with oxygen. It forms Na2O. If you balance it, you will get 4Na. Na, whenever it reacts with oxygen, less amounts of oxygen, it will give sodium oxide. For suppose if it reacts with excess amount of oxygen, Na plus,
Peroxide.
yeah, it can form peroxide. It can react with excess amount of oxygen, it forms peroxide. On balancing, you get 2Na. And as well as it can react with Mg also. Magnesium bonds in dioxygen, it produces magnesium oxide. That is also can be taken. Even these are highly reactive metals as per electrochemical series. Moderately reactive metals also can be taken, like aluminium plus oxygen, iron plus oxygen. Iron, okay, aluminium plus oxygen, it will give you Al2O3. So if you balance it, you'll get here 4Al and it is 2 and it is 3O2. Fe plus O2, which gives you ferric oxide. So on balancing, it is 2, say, fine. So this is what we are going to get it with the metals. All of these reactions are possible. And second, you can take it with the non-metals. Even with the non-metals also, oxygen can react. All of these reactions are well known and familiar, nothing much to explain about it. C plus O2 giving rise to CO. That means we have supplied limited amount of oxygen. That's why we got carbon monoxide, right? It's incomplete oxidation reaction, we can say that. And C plus O2 giving rise to CO2. It is complete oxidation, which is said to be combustion. And one more reaction, which is familiar to you, P4, white phosphorus. If it react with oxygen, it produces phosphorus
Smoke
pentoxide.
screens.
Yeah, smoke screens, the same reaction. P4 plus O2 giving rise to P4O10, and it is 5. P4O10 can be given. That is why dense fumes can be formed whenever phosphorus reacts with oxygen. That is, reaction with non-metals can be taken. And third one will be continuing in the next class. That is reaction with the compounds. Reaction with compounds like SO2, HCl, NH3, right? With combustion reactions, organic compounds, all those will be discussed in the next episode. Okay, please copy it.